Hi everyone, it's Joanne here from After Studio with another tutorial. So I've just finished filming a lovely Christmassy winter garland for my patrons, and it looks pretty simple, but there's quite a lot going on in that, and obviously I share all the techniques that I put into that with my patrons, who get 2 tutorials a month, by the way. So I thought it deserved a warm up. I'm going to share that with you guys. And when I say warm up, it just sounds like something kind of quick and not very nice, but actually you'll be amazed at the results you're going to get. And it's lovely and loose and spontaneous, and who doesn't love that? In fact, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say to me, Joanne, I'd like to tighten up my painting. It's usually, how do I loosen up my painting? So this really will tick all those boxes for you if you want to loosen up your painting. So before we get started, don't forget to check out my website, which is artbyboon.co.uk. There you'll find all the information for my Patreon channel, my single purchase tutorials, limited edition prints. There's a lot going on there, so do check that out. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel as well, which is absolutely free, and that way you're not going to miss any content. I'm going to stop babbling on now. Go grab your brushes and let's paint a garland together. This is going to be fun, isn't it? So I've got a piece of Bockingford watercolour paper on my board, the jug clean water, always got my spray bottle, always got kitchen roll handy. No pencil because we're not going to do any drawing whatsoever. I've got my palette here with various colours on. You can choose whatever colours you like. I've got a Sennelier red here, a Cadmium yellow. I do like the turquoise and a bit of Prussian there as well. So it's up to you really, whatever you like, but this is important because I've got the tube of paint as well. I'm going to be using that to create some lovely berries, and I've got a size 8 round brush. I've also got this here, which is an old bowl. Well, it's not an old bowl actually, it's quite a good bowl from my kitchen, but it'll wash. And I'm going to use that to create the garland shape, and you can see it's already mucky, isn't it, because I've used it previously. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to start to introduce some colour onto the lid here. Doesn't have to be too thick, but make sure you get a good amount on there. Let's put some of the red in there as well. That'll be nice, wouldn't it? Just a few little bits of red. And what about some of that lovely Prussian? Oh, have I got enough there? Maybe a bit more yellow. I'm using quite a big bowl here. You could use a smaller bowl. Okay, so I've got the rim all full of drippy, lovely paint, and I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to push it onto my paper. I'm going to give it a little twist as well, just to make it a bit thicker. Oh, nice. I've missed a little section there, but don't worry about that. That looks lovely, doesn't it? Let's clean it a little bit. So let's just kind of just re-wet some of these areas here and allow them to blend together. I keep cleaning my brush as well because you want the colours to be as fresh as you can possibly get them. And if you've missed a bit like that, you can always add a bit more paint into that section. But it's given us that lovely circle, hasn't it? And that's what we're looking for, because it's very difficult to paint on its own. But I'm rather liking the shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this completely dry before I put in some little details. So this one is nice and dry now, and I'm going to put in some berry shapes. So we've not used a pencil to draw the circle, and we're certainly not going to use a pencil to put in those berries. I mean, this is just a fun tutorial really, isn't it? You can just go mad here, but I've got a tube of paint, I've got the red, and I'm just going to squeeze it to the top a little bit, but I don't want to squeeze the paint out, just nudging it to the top there. So I'm going to push it into my paper and create little circles like this. So sometimes I get a perfect circle, sometimes I'll get a whole blob of paint. There we go, a whole blob of paint. So I pressed too hard there, didn't I? So I'll try and restrict the pressure that I'm putting on there, look. Ooh, lovely jubbly. Maybe another one up here. And I'll bring some down here as well.
Oops, that was a bit too heavy-handed. Some more here, maybe? I mean, it's your picture, really. You can have as many berries as you like. Maybe just a couple up here as well. I mean, you can go all the way around if you like. Oh, gosh, I am being heavy-handed, aren't I? Right, I'm going to stop. Stop at that point. Okay, so I've got my lovely berry shapes in, and I want them to dry a little bit before I start to put the leaves in, and I can speed the process up a little bit here. So if I take some kitchen roll, and you can see I've made some really big blobby marks, then don't worry, get your kitchen roll, just push that in, pick up some of that paint. There we go. Pull that away. So you can see now we've sealed the paper, and obviously I've got little accidents here and there. Don't worry, it's going to be nice, rough and ready, but gorgeous. Okay, so again, I'm going to let this one dry before I start to put the leaf shapes in. So once it's nice and dry, I can start to add a few leaves now. So let's take our cadmium yellow and let's mix it in with a bit of that Prussian as well. A nice bottle green. And I'm going to start to draw them in with my brush, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make sure that I go around those berry shapes before I put it in. So I'm just painting around those shapes, and now I can come out and create a lovely shape like that. I'll block it in. And I can keep doing that. I can keep coming round. Let's have one shape here that's kind of breaking that circular shape. Don't forget you can do this as well. You can turn your picture any way you like. Let's have one coming out from here. And if that red happens to kind of just seep like that into your greens, let it do it. It's nice, it connects those shapes, doesn't it? And you see that red now, it's just running nicely into that. I like that. Okay, let's have one coming around this berry shape here. And maybe one, oh, just here would be nice, just against those red shapes. Little baby one there, look. And just add a few other little greens as well, just to connect those shapes. So for instance, I haven't got any green leaves here, but I can definitely put a little bit of green in there, look. That's fine. How about a leaf coming this way? And the beauty of this is everyone's painting is going to be unique. No two paintings will be the same, which is wonderful, isn't it, really? Okay, let's find, oh, there's a nice shape here. Just have a peek of a leaf just coming behind those shapes. And no, they're not perfect, my leaves, and I'm not going for absolute perfection. It's not a botanical study by anybody's standards. It's just a nice loose play. Let's have another one just here, look, and I'm going to let that red deliberately run into that. So I'm going to add a few more now, but I'm going to turn the camera off because obviously you don't want to see me doing that forever. So I shall be back in a short while when I've added a few more. So as you can see, I've added a few more leaves and mine is nice and dry. And I'm just keeping to this side, but you of course can go all the way around if you like, but I am going to add a few little details on this side. But before I do that, let's go back to those red berries and let's move the paint around a little bit. So I'm just going to push a wet brush into some of those shapes. And what that's going to do is it allows me to leave a little highlight. I'm also going to allow that red to run into some of that green as well. Let's find some more. So here's a nice little berry shape. There's another one. You're never going to get them all. It's just nice to have a few with the little highlight. I can also move colour around as well, so I can pick some of that red up and perhaps pop it here and just soften it down a little bit and let it blend into an area like that. Let's pick some more up. Let's find a space there, look. Just a very light wash, but I'm just allowing it to run out, to bleed out a little bit. There we go. Still moving those shapes around, just catching the light on some if I can. You can see I just lost one then. It doesn't matter. Don't worry. Again, I'm just going to pull a bit of colour out maybe here as well. Just let it soften and blend into that background a little bit. You can see I'm working very much wet into wet now because it is running quite a lot, but that's okay. Again, just finding that shape. There we go. Allowing some to just run a little bit. Let's run a little bit here as well. Maybe down into those leaves. So you can see now when I say that everyone's painting is going to be different, it really is, because it's very hard to copy exactly what I'm doing. So you're going to get some lovely, unique results. I kind of like it though. It's just lovely, that, isn't it? It's just kind of fresh and loose. You could add a bit of splatter if you like. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe a little bit up here. Now, I'm always tempted to kind of give things a spray, but if I spray it, which I usually do, I'm going to lose those little white highlights. So I shall resist doing that. I'm just going to lift a little bit of paint away there. So, I mean, it looks really nice like that, doesn't it? But you could add more leaves if you want to. How about we just put a suggestion of some leaves coming from this shape here? So let's take some turquoise and yellow just to give me a different type of green. And I'm just going to push my brush into those shapes like that, perhaps. There we go, I have a couple more. Maybe have some coming off in that direction. I mean, a brush with a good point is kind of really helpful at this point. Oh, knowing when to stop. That's always the difficulty, isn't it? I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit more water onto mine. Oops. Just tapping some water in and just moving some of those shapes around. I'd like to drop a little bit of red in there as well, actually. Just some little hints of a little red berries. And of course you can be a lot more detailed than me, can't you? You can, you know, really go and put acorns in there, or white berries, which, you know, whatever you like really, whatever kind of autumnal or winter foliage you like. I'm going to stop at that point because it's looking nice and fresh at the moment. There's always a chance I might come back and do some tidying up, but for now it's definitely finished. And you can see why I said that'd be fun, can't you? Because it really is fun. So go grab your brushes, go and paint a garland, don't worry about drawing anything, and enjoy the process. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.